Now on CoastTV News.
Wind power clash.
It's an attack on God's beautiful creation overall.
A clean energy project blocked by local leaders, but a new bill could erase that vote.
Milton rental regulations.
I think rules are always a good thing.
What short-term rental owners need to know before tonight's vote.
Tents, canopies, and the beach.
They could fly over, hurt somebody.
Ocean City could ban some summer setups.
This is CoastTV News at 6.
Offshore wind back on the table, this time at Legislative Hall. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Welcome to our News at 6. We begin tonight with a controversial bill that could override a county council's vote.
You're taking a look at Senate Bill 159. It would essentially allow legislators to override a 2024 Sussex County Council vote that denied a request for an offshore wind substation near the old Indian River power plant. CoastTV News reporter Zakia Jennings is live in Dover. Zakia, opponents to the bill voiced their concerns to lawmakers today.
Maddie, I spoke with a handful of people today, and not a single one of them is in favor of this bill. The people I spoke with say it's government overreach, and they were here at Legislative Hall to put a stop to it. A look from above at the recently retired Indian River power plant. Near it is where U.S. Wind hoped to build a new electric substation for power cables from its offshore wind turbines. That hope was shut down in a 4-1 vote by Sussex County Council in 2024.
Agree or disagree with wind, the fact of the matter is Sussex County made a decision, and that decision needs to be respected.
However, Senate Bill 159 could override that vote. The bill would require conditional land use applications be accepted for substations located on unincorporated land if the proposed facility meets a specific set of conditions. The bill's advocates say it helps create clean energy, which is needed. However, people like Claire spoke at the hearing and tells CoastTV she feels this sets a dangerous precedent for future land use decisions.
I think that it's disrespectful and disregarding the county authority and local government. And to me, it's an attack on God's beautiful creation overall.
The bill is retroactive, meaning any qualifying applications submitted since August 8, 2023 would be deemed approved, even if a county previously rejected them. Today was just the committee hearing, so there are many more steps before this could become law, if ultimately approved, and allow U.S. Wind to build the substation it wanted. Live in Dover, Zakia Jennings, CoastTV News.
The Sussex County Council voted against the onshore connection point for U.S. Wind's offshore turbines, saying that it would just benefit Maryland. Well, if this bill is passed, though, to qualify, a substation must support a renewable energy generation project of at least 250 megawatts. It must also be located in a heavy industrial zone and be in a district where substations are already permitted as conditional use.
And this brings us to our CoastTV poll. We want to know what matters most when deciding energy projects.
Let's take a look at the updated results. Lots of votes on this one. 53% say local input, 25% say environmental impact, 15% say energy demand, and 7% say economic growth.
And it looks like we do have a comment today. Norwood of Berlin says, build as quickly as possible, needed for environment, cut down on fossil fuel use. If you haven't voted yet, you still can. Go to coasttv.com or use a CoastTV mobile app. We're going to show you updated results tonight on CoastTV News at 11.
Milton's Town Council set to consider major changes to its rental property ordinance tonight. CoastTV News reporter Emma Aiken is live in Milton. Emma, this is for those places rented for 30 days or less.
Maddie, these changes would apply to vacation stay places like the house behind me called the Book Nook here in Milton, and all those other places you see on Airbnb and VRBO. And some of the proposed changes would make it so property owners have to get an annual rental license and have a local contact person available 24/7 who must answer complaints within 1 hour. And again, these are just for those rentals that are 30 days or less. The new rules would also ban commercial events or public gatherings in the units. Plus, the property owners must limit overnight occupancy to 2 adults per bedroom. Town officials say the updates are aimed at improving safety, preserving neighborhood character, and ensuring rental properties are held to consistent standards. One local we spoke with says some regulation would help.
I'm not against, the short-term rentals because, we have to have, it does stimulate the local economy to have that influx of people. But you don't want people coming in that are not respectful or conscious of the surrounding area.
And Barrett, who you just heard from there, says she thinks as people continue to visit the coast, they will continue to rent further and further from it as prices may be cheaper. And the town council is talking about this in just a little bit at 6:30 at the Milton Library. Reporting live in Milton, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
Also tonight, Milton is looking to tighten rules on large trucks using certain roads. The plan targets trucks with over 2 axles or if they're more than 5,000 pounds. If adopted, the ordinance would not apply to trucks that are providing local services. Let's go ahead and take a live look outside into Ocean City. Our First Alert Chief Meteorologist Paul Williams is tracking a beautiful day.
Yeah, beautiful, gorgeous, bright, sunny, all those words, but also allergy, UV index, and we're going to be a little bit on the warm side too. Not that that's a problem, just making you aware. Our dry tech camera, Ocean City, 65 degrees right now. We are absolutely clear across all of Delmarva, not posing much of a aesthetic problem whatsoever. High pressure and full control of the weather for the entire eastern side of the United States. So we're all getting in on that good thing. But hazy start to the week already, and we're looking out for monitoring some concerns for possible air quality. Charlie?
Thank you, Paul. Along Coastal Highway in Bethany Beach, DelDOT has already made speed limit changes with the goal of pedestrian and bicyclist safety. But they're not done making changes. Coast TV News reporter Brandon Ferguson is live in our First Alert weather Jeep in Bethany Beach. Brandon, you're driving along the North Bethany corridor where the study was done to make it safer.
Charlie, DelDOT started this process in 2023 to make this stretch of Coastal Highway safer all the way from the Indian River Inlet to Bethany Beach. And as we look outside of our First Alert weather Jeep, some of the suggestions from DelDOT include more shared use paths and protected bike lanes. And if you look on your right side of your screen, that's the current bike lane, and we are just feet away from it. And you're supposed to be going 50 miles an hour at this section of the road, but if you've ever traveled on this part of Coastal Highway, it's more upwards of 60 miles an hour here. And Coast TV spoke with a bicyclist today riding on the side of Coastal Highway. He says there is way too many close calls and anything will help.
That would be great, safer for everyone. Just as you ride up and down here, you always worry about your safety. Cars veering off into the shoulder, and it happens multiple times throughout the season with us.
For the last time in this 2-year process, tomorrow, DelDOT will be holding their last public workshop at the South Coastal Highway or Library in Bethany Beach to look at the improvements made to this part of Coastal Highway. In Bethany Beach, Brandon Ferguson, Coast TV News.
The Indian River Board of Education is worried about the cost of keeping local cops in schools. These officers, referred to as school resource officers, have been partially funded by the district in the past. Without that, which runs nearly $300,000 a year, Georgetown, Millsboro, Selbyville, and Ocean View will have to look for new options or pull the police altogether. Some parents are worried about the possible impact to students.
It's a really important relationship that I think the kids will really miss if they don't have that.
In a statement to Coast TV, the district cited improvements to school security, including upgraded entry vestibules, additional cameras, and weapons detection systems.
New at 6, Milford has named its next city manager. Christopher Coleman brings over 30 years experience in municipal government. He most recently served as town administrator in Westwood, Massachusetts. He'll make $195,000 a year. Coleman starts his new role on August 4th. And we have a full article on this. It's right now up on CoastTV.com.
Lewis drivers, get ready. 2nd Street will close Wednesday. That's from Savannah Road to Market Street for pipe and sinkhole repairs. And we have a lot more news to get to this evening.
Vila's groundbreaking, how one Milford group is building up affordable housing downtown.
And an abundance of sunshine is prompting concern for rising UV index numbers. I'll show you what I'm tracking, but for tonight, we stay clear.
But first, why new regulations are being proposed in Ocean City that could restrict tent and canopy sizes on the beach. We're back in just 60 seconds.
This is Coast TV News at 6.
A big change could be imminent for Ocean City beachgoers.
The Ocean City Council is considering new regulations on tents and canopies on the beach.
Coast TV News reporter Kevin Zappe is live in OC. Kevin, people could have the end of their big tents there.
Guys, the Ocean City Council has received numerous complaints when it comes to tents blocking people's view of the ocean, which is why the town is proposing new regulations that could go into effect tonight. Paul Stork and his friends live near Ocean City, and they enjoy taking bike rides along the coast. But when they're not strolling along the boardwalk, you may find them on the beach, hopefully not stuck behind someone's tent.
Bigger tents could be, intrusive to other people, especially if they're setting up right in front of people that are already there.
On Monday, the Ocean City Council will make a final decision on new regulations governing tents and canopies along the beach. If passed, all tents would be banned except for small baby tents. Unattended canopies set up before 10 a.m. would be banned, and the size of the canopies would be limited 10 feet by 10 feet and must be spaced at least 3 feet apart. All of this comes after the town got a host of complaints and noticed more tents being placed along the beach. On the sand, Monday visitors Marvin Martinez and Edgar Lazima set up one small umbrella for the two of them. And while they say it's not only enough shade, they agree it's safer for everyone around them.
Those big tents are covering a lot of spaces. They can fly over, hurt somebody, a lot of little kids, walking around and everything, and all the family. So yeah, I think it's better just have like the chairs, just regular umbrella.
Meanwhile, Stork, who thinks there should be some regulations, also understands that big families may need more shade and offers a suggestion.
Maybe, a law that, you have to be 10 feet behind the lifeguards or something like that. It all comes down to courtesy.
The Ocean City Council will make a decision about these regulations tonight, and it's possible that before the sun sets, we'll know whether these tents need to be folded up and packed away, or if they will shade the sand for a bit longer. Now, the Ocean City Council is currently discussing these proposed regulations right now, so if they do approve this final reading, it'll go into effect immediately. I'm Kevin Zappe, live in Ocean City, Coast TV News.
Here's a look at your Gulf forecast. Listen, we're expecting clear skies, actually excellent conditions, with 78 degrees and sunny. Let's just keep it simple and straightforward. Now, we are expecting beautiful weather, and there's nothing to really complain about, but a couple of things I just need for you to be mindful of. Not necessarily leery, but at least mindful as we're enjoying this stretch of summer-like sunshine for this work week. Our Tyndall's casual furniture camera, Laurel, right now we're holding at an even 71 comfortable degrees, by the way, and we'll slip to 63 degrees when the sun goes down, right around 9 o'clock. We warmed up to 73 degrees for the high in Georgetown, 72 in Cambridge, and 70 degrees for the high Ocean City. We're in the 70s right now throughout the inland areas, and in the 60s for the beaches, 66 Bethany Beach, 66 for Indian River Inlet and Rehoboth Beach, 69 degrees currently Lewis. Live radar, we are clear. Not only are we not concerned about any rain or precipitation, but even the cloud cover is staying out of the way with an extremely dominant high pressure system in full control of our weather. And what does that look like? Well, it looks a lot like this. Just sunshine, straightforward, plain and simple. 81 for the high, possibly in some areas, particularly inland areas, going into tomorrow afternoon. Now, one thing we got to be a little bit mindful of, some future smoke. We're tracking smoke in our general area, keeping a close eye on how some fires are going close to our region. By 9:30, we're going to start seeing it overtake portions of Maryland. Then it overtakes Delaware. And understand, we went from yellow right here, so you look up real quick, from yellow over here to orange. Now, the next step is red and dark red. That's when we really start having some concerns for air quality. So air quality is going to be a concern for us for Tuesday. It looks like we may actually have to stick around. We may have to do a report on that because it's going to stick around Tuesday going into Wednesday. Now, as far as highs tomorrow is concerned, 82 for the high, Georgetown. We're going to warm to 80 in Cambridge. Winds out of the west at 5 to 10, and 80 for the high in Berlin, 82 for the high High, Snow Hill. Now, along the coast, for example, Lewis 77, but Chincoteague 80, but the unifying thing is winds out of the west and all kinds of sunshine, limited to actually no concern for cloud cover. Another caveat I want you to keep in mind, the pollen count, because grasses are going to be very high, trees are going to be very high, and that's going to make for a sneezing and wheezing situation. Tuesday morning, 50s. We go right into the 80s for Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday morning, 50s. We go right into the 80s for Wednesday afternoon. That's what we're going to be in the most northern portion of our viewing area. Same holds true for us in Ocean City and Ocean Pines. Upper 70s for Tuesday for the high. And then on Wednesday, we'll go into the mid 80s there as well. So everybody's getting in on this summer type feel. Now, the other thing I need you to just keep in mind while we're enjoying the sunshine, remember, it's not necessarily a problem. Notice Friday and Saturday, the UV index is creeping up here near high. Not very high, not extreme, but it's starting to creep up here. And if you're not careful, if you don't take it seriously, it could pose a bit of a problem for you. So remember that you need to take protection. And then we're looking at above normal temperatures following that. Finally, here's a look at your extended forecast.
Diamond, the final state champion to be crowned in Delaware is in softball, and this is a David vs. Goliath story. Sussex Tech comes in as the 12 seed overall, knocking off 3 higher seeds en route to the final. Standing in their way is the powerhouse Caravel Buccaneers, who have won the last 4 state titles. The Ravens are coming off a 10-6 win over 9 seed Sussex Academy in last Thursday's semifinal. It put Sussex Tech in the state championship for the first time since 2016 and capped off one of the strongest midseason turnarounds in program history. For some context on this run, Sussex Tech had a 5-6 record on May 1st. Since that day, the Ravens have gone 9-1, scoring double-digit runs in 4 of those wins. The Ravens are eyeing their 3rd championship in program history. Meanwhile, the Buccaneers are looking to take home their 15th state title. This also keeps a unique trend alive. Since 1998, every Delaware softball state champion has either been a Henlopen school or Caravel. First pitch tonight is at 7 p.m., so make sure to follow along on our socials at Delmarva Sports for live updates the entire way. Reporting from Newark, Delaware, I'm Luke Milai, DSN.
Soaring Over the Shore is sponsored by Morse Roofing and Siding.
Over 1,700 acres, the Redden State Forest is a piece of peace and quiet in the middle of Sussex County.
This is the headquarters tract, which is 1,700 acres, but at large, Redden State Forest is nearly 13,000 acres across central Sussex County. Primarily made up of loblolly pine, the forest has tons of different trees and plants and 44 miles of trails in the 18 tracts of forest. There's also the historic Redden Lodge, built by the Pennsylvania Railroad in 1903 as a hunting lodge, and now is a gathering place for the public. From hiking to horseback riding, the Redden State Forest is a great place to enjoy the great outdoors.
Milford Housing Development Corporation broke ground today on the site of the new townhomes by the Riverwalk. The group plans to keep the units affordable by making them cost no more than 30% of the tenant's income. Thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News at 6.
For more news, more local weather, download our Coast TV News app.
The NBC Nightly News is up next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 11. Have a great evening.